Well, after researching so many years, the Beatles, and after writing this book, which Beatle do you fancy the most now?
Well, of course, when I started this book, for me it was Paul McCartney, because I was a musician myself, and Paul was really the true musician of the group. He can played guitar better than George. He's a piano player, which I was, guitar player. He invented the rock and roll bass, and he had that amazing voice. But as I got to know Paul more through the book, as I got to know him as a person and through his dealings as a Beatle, that wore off. And then I became interested in John, because everybody's interested in John. John's the most complex man. He was dark, frustrated, shot from the hip, really an interesting character. But John was also kind of a nasty guy as well, and so that wore off for me as well as the book went on. Then I gravitated to George, and George, of course, is a quiet guy, maybe a little too quiet for me. And by the time I finished working on the book, 8.5 years later, I realized that the true hero of the Beatles story was Ringo Starr. He was a lovely guy. The other Beatles, they loved him unconditionally. He never had a bad word to say about anybody. He loved being a Beatle. He was a fantastic drummer. And he only ever wanted what was best for the group. And so Ringo, I think, is the true hero of this book. And for me, he came out at the end as being really one of the character who I could identify with the most. And funny enough, I found out that when the Beatles first came to the United States, they were selling those buttons, I love John, I love Paul. The I love Ringo buttons outsold the others 5-1. So maybe Ringo has all the magic of the story. Maybe he isn't just the luckiest man alive.
Which he stated himself, yeah.
Yeah.